Tell me.
Okay, so I'm out on another beautiful walk with my we're going. So yesterday was a little bit frustrating just because I'm using a thing called Thinkific to do my course, and I was hoping that they had a way for me to do my blog on there, but I spent a lot of time trying to figure it out, and I don't think it's gonna quite work. Or if it is, I don't have time to waste on that. So I want to be ready to go next week. I want to launch my first course, and so I'm trying to gear everything up. And the first week's always the hardest. But anyway, so I'm trying to do that. Oh, great! I have a blower. Let's go this way. There's a guy doing a blower out there. Yeah, we've had connection issues a second ago. Anyway, so I think I'm just going to do my blog on my current Jeet Kune Do site, which works out good too because it adds SEO to my current site. And then well, I've directed me around, I guess. And anyway, and then the blogs are going to essentially act as my ads for the program. So people can read the blogs if they think I make a good argument for the stuff that I'll cover in my course, then they can, of course, buy that said course. So I'm working on the blogs, which is actually very fun because it's just very time consuming. So I've spent 2 hours just working on writing my blog articles, which my goal is to write 4. So I learned a strategy for writing blog articles. I learned it from Eben Pagan, same guy that did Wake Up Productive that I talked about in my first or second video. But anyway, he did a thing on learning and teaching. And one of the ways he taught to teach is to use a format of why, what, how, what if. Why is what you're going to teach important? What is sort of the foundational concepts? What do you need to know? What's the overall structure? The how is, okay, what's the step-by-step? How do I implement this knowledge? And then the what if would be special case scenarios, how to actually put it into a practice, seeing it used in real life, and using that template. There was a while when I was using that to write blog articles for my fitness site, and all I would do is I would write down, I would take why, and I would put a 5-minute timer on and just ask myself, what are all the reasons, or what are all the why questions I could think of to write an article around. Then I wrote what are all the what type of questions that people might have, and so on. And some of my best articles came out of that, and yet it's also very time efficient, because then what I do is like I take one thing, and I'll just tell you how I'm relating it to this. So I said, so for instance, why? What's the why of the elusive lead? And so I wrote down all the points I could think of. I put on a 5-minute timer, so it's very targeted. I have 5 minutes to just brain dump everything that I can think of why you would do the elusive lead. Then I take each of those points, and I can cross them out and whatnot, or I can put some as sub points. And then I just would write 3 to 5 sentences describing that. So rather than trying to come up with this great big blog article, I'm basically just taking 3 to 5 sentences to argue for each of the points that I came up with during my little 5-minute brainstorm session, and that becomes an article. And I remember reading in a blog once that the best article length is about 750 characters, so that's about what I'm writing. And then my goal is so I'm gonna have for every week, I'm writing a why, what, how, and a what if article. And those are going to be my little advertisement pieces. And then I'm going to use those to also then make an ebook about that principle. So I can just condense all those articles into one little ebook and make that a free ebook, so that the flow of this goes. I'll use the article.
Sidewalk closed,
Oh,
sidewalk closed.
shoot. Where were you on that one? No, I was just kidding. So I use the articles as my advertisement. So those will be my ads, and those ads will then take people to a landing page where they can download the ebook. I'll have a little video just talking about why they should download the ebook, and then they download the ebook, and they'll invite them to purchase the course. So that's kind of the methodology. I like that too, because to me, my biggest motivation is learning. When I feel like I'm learning, if I feel like I'm just doing something to get it done, I don't enjoy it. But if I feel like I'm learning, then I enjoy doing something. And again, as I mentioned before, my whole goal with this process is to have a practice, something that gets me better, rather than feeling like I have to be successful. All I've got to do is implement the process and see what I learn in the next 3 months, even if nobody buys anything, even if everyone thinks that my stuff is stupid. I don't care. I've got 3 months that all I'm caring about is, am I implementing the practice? Do I feel like I'm growing and learning as a better communicator? And so anyway, my goal is to keep all the articles able to be written in about 30 minutes. And then I'll add pictures to them and whatnot. It does always take me longer though. I start rambling and whatnot, just like I do on these. But anyway, so that's what I've been working on today. I completed the why article, and I've almost finished the what article. Next will be the how. And then the what if's gonna be a little tricky. I'm gonna try and make that a thing where I find some video clips of maybe UFC fighters or something using that principle. But if nothing else, I might end up having to scratch that one and just do a why, what, and a how article, and then just build the what if over time, because that one's going to be a little more tricky. Anyway, also something that I didn't really talk about, but yesterday, so one of the practices I'm doing right now is there's a mentor of mine really talks about the importance of learning in communicating a message. You have to learn to speak towards someone's pain. So if you just tell someone, hey, you should do this thing, but you don't address the what it is that that they don't have yet, because they don't have the problem you're solving, then there's not really a desire. And so one of the practices that he says is basically every day to communicate a problem that somebody's having, and then the pain behind that problem, and then to communicate the solution. And so I've been trying to practice that every day. I've been going on to some of his videos, and every day I break down one of his videos and write down the problem that he's addressing and the pain points he hits on, so I can get a feel for how somebody does this in a very easy flowing, so it's not just like now let me tell you the problem, now let me tell you the pain. And so I'm doing that to kind of get my brain to assess from that point of view. And then I'm also trying to post something each day where I do a video in one of my groups or somewhere where I start with the problem and the pain. So it's very different. It's one thing to say, hey, you should check out the elusive lead stuff. It's another to say, hey, if you find that every time you throw an attack and the person covers up and blocks, and you can never really land your own attack, you can never really land your own punches in sparring against anybody that's any good, and it gets frustrating because everything you try doesn't work, you might be interested in this, and then you go into it. It's a better way of communicating, is to start with what the problem is. And so I'm practicing that as well. Let's see, I think I was gonna, so I've got a few other ideas. I'm at the 9-minute mark, so I'll probably call it good there, but I'm having fun. When I get home, I'm gonna spend a bunch more time working on these articles, hopefully get at least the writing part of them done today, and hopefully start to throw some images in, and tomorrow start working on the ebook. Tomorrow's my last day. If my goal goes right, I'll be done and ready to launch next week. If not, I'll spend the weekend doing it, because that is one thing that's a non-negotiable, is every week I'm gonna be releasing a product. And if I don't if I fall off on the very first week, if I don't hit that goal on the very first week, it'll be easy to skip it on each successive week. So anyway, that's my little chit chat today. Bye-bye.